Hello, I'm Brian Benedetti, Director of Marketing Communications, and joining us today are our Achieving the Dream coaches, Diane Troyer and Linda Villanueva, to give us their impressions of where Pierce is with Achieving the Dream and tell us about our next steps. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So Diane and Linda, can you begin our discussion by describing your role as our Achieving the Dream coaches?
So there are two coaches for every Achieving the Dream school, and a data coach, which is Linda's role, and leadership coach. And we actually have those roles pretty much interchangeable, although Linda is the hands-down expert on applying data towards strategic change. But we both really see our roles as helping the college really get to where they want to be, to really change the outcome for students and all students down the road.
So I really see us as change agents in that way, and so our job is to take the strengths and the opportunities that Pierce has and to really help students to achieve their goals, whatever that may be, and that may be earning a certificate or a degree or transferring on, and recognizing the unique differences, though, that the Pierce students, your Pierce student population represents.
Because ATD is a data-based change model, we've found over the years, and now 10 years in place, Achieving the Dream, that this is a journey for colleges, and it really helps to have someone to watch, help, suggest, bounce ideas off of, share best practice. And so that's one of the reasons it's called a coach instead of a coordinator or some other kind of role, because we are part of your team, but also we can bring external resources and places where someone has had the same issue or same challenge, and be able to help the college along in the journey.
And I guess I would just add that we really try to ask employees at Pierce to have courageous conversations and to really challenge our assumptions about what we think is supporting students and what's not supporting students. And so we always want to ask, well, how do we know that this is the case? How do we know that some groups are lagging or doing better than other groups? But also, why is that happening? And so our job is to be part of the Pierce family in helping you to connect you to a network of other colleges and other resources, but also to build upon the capacity that you guys already have.
All right, thank you. So what is unique and positive about the way Pierce has approached Achieving the Dream, and what stands out for you?
I think the part that we have seen done so well here is aligning the work of real change toward a vision for student success. And so in many colleges, either Achieving the Dream or a Title III grant or a TRIO program or whatever it might be to try that the college is working on to try to improve outcomes for students are all separate. And here we're really seeing that Pierce has created a coordinated effort that has a very strong vision for where it wants to go in improving outcomes for students. And that goal is based on equity. It's really based on making sure that all the students that come here have an opportunity to succeed, and making sure that they have the tools and processes and opportunities that are actually going to make sure that they succeed. So I think that alignment is done very, very well here.
Yes, so many different colleges who approach Achieving the Dream work, you'll hear them referring to different initiatives like Achieving the Dream or your Title III initiative that you were recently awarded, or accreditation work, and they will talk about them separately. Well, here it's all under your general student success agenda, and the message that we always want to have employees, faculty, staff, and our stakeholders here is that at the end of the day, no matter what the initiative is, we're always just focused on student success. And we all play a vital role in helping students to ultimately achieve their goals. I think some of the things that really stand out that make Pierce very different from other Achieving the Dream colleges, though, is the fact that you guys have so many strengths with regard to a strong focus on data with regard to looking at different populations. So a lot of Achieving the Dream colleges don't have the capacity nor have been committed to looking at basic skills. And you guys have made that a very strong part of your strategy with your work with regard to Achieving the Dream. Likewise, you have this very important group of military students that you serve, and you have decided to make that an intentional focus of your Achieving the Dream efforts. And these are things that I think will make Pierce stand out above and beyond and make them, leaders in the reform movement for Achieving the Dream.
I'm glad you mentioned the basic skills, because one of the pillars for ATD is equity, and really looking at your success through an equity lens. And most colleges, I would say, don't take on the population that is in ESL and basic skills because it's very difficult. It's a population that traditionally has not made the kind of progress that many colleges want to see in Achieving the Dream or tracking other kinds of student outcomes. It's very courageous for Pierce to have said, no, actually, we are going to put together a pathway for these students, and it's going to connect them to a credit pathway, and they are going to be college students at Pierce. And not only is that courageous, but it's working, and it's exciting to see that when you talk about equity, you really have a sense of what that means for your students.
Great. All right. Thank you. What direction, encouragement, or advice would you give us to keep us on track?
Well, one of the wonderful things about Pierce College is that you have a lot going on. There are lots of ideas. Innovation thrives here. But at some point, that evaluation that Linda was talking about really has to have the college decide which of these great ideas are we going to apply to all students and put the resources behind so that they can actually be scaled to all the students that need them. So really moving from the great sense of innovation that you have and testing out a lot of good ideas of how to move students forward, tracking that success, but then being in a position to deciding how you can really maximize the impact through scaled application.
So I would agree, and I would say that it's really important for Pierce to remember that this is a journey, not a destination. And so we believe that Pierce is on target to receive several accolades as being a part of the Achieving the Dream network. But even though these things may happen, this is still just the beginning. Until we see that achievement gaps are eradicated, and until we see that we have truly achieved the mission of possibilities realized for students at Pierce College, that we're not there yet. But it's also important that, as Diane was saying, that we need to constantly look at whether or not we're using data to drive all of the decisions that we're making, and that we're doing it from the lens of equity to make sure that students who need different things are receiving those different types of support, and that we're creating an overall framework that is truly transforming the student experience as a whole, not necessarily just serving pockets of students. And so I think that Pierce is really well along its way to doing that, but we still have work to do.
I think one of the differences in the Achieving the Dream approach is that this is not one more initiative. And this is not a solution that we want 2 or 3 sections of something that may be fitting for a pocket of students, but really the systemic change, as Linda said, so that at the end of this, your set of goals, when you reach the first set of goals, you really want to be able to feel that you have change the student experience, and that the majority of students that need help are getting that help and are actually moving toward their goal. You know, one of the things that we have not been very good about in the community college world or culture is being impatient with where we are in and where we are in student success, and not stepping back and saying, well, if only that percentage of students are actually making it to graduation, there has to be some urgency here. We have to move things along, and we have to somehow impact most of the students instead of a few students that may be reaching their goal. So one of the things that I think Pierce is on track to do, is really looking at how can these changes and these initiatives and these policy changes and these new approaches to moving students forward actually change the outcome for the majority of students that come to you for an education. And we think it's very exciting, but we also kind of see that sense of urgency that needs to be always there, not being complacent about where we are, and looking for how can we impact more students and how can we reach maximum impact.
Great. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add or tell us about your Pierce or Achieving the Dream experience?
I think I would just like to say that it is such a pleasure to be a part of the Pierce family and to see the positive change that is resulting from this commitment to student success and to the work and the principles of Achieving the Dream. And we look forward to seeing the many possibilities that are realized as a result of being coaches for Achieving the Dream.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we note every time we come to work with the team, and we have the opportunity to meet with students and with board members and administrators and faculty and staff, and really understand how people are engaged in this work at all levels throughout the institution. And we're impressed with the level of the conversation, that Pierce is really talking about the right things and the right challenges, and now are gaining and applying the tools that they need to actually take that conversation to a solution. So we love coming here and working with this team. So
we love having you here. Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments and your guidance and your assistance and your coaching. So thank you.
Thank
you.
you.